Hi, it's Amanda, and I've got Fiverr, and I'm about to cook something called long distance ragu. Its author, who is Italian enough, has you do a lot of prep work in advance. And it also has 3 different kinds of pork. So it's pancetta, ground pork, and then pork butt. And then there's shallot, carrot, and celery. So we are just gonna get our heat going. It's Friday. I don't know if you can tell by my look that it's the end of the week. And I am looking a little ragged, but I'm very excited to have a little time alone in the kitchen. Not everything may go perfectly, but that's okay. I plan to serve it tomorrow for dinner with pasta. So I've got the pancetta cubed, and we're gonna let it cook slowly. Pancetta is looking fabulous, nice and rosy and brown, and it has rendered tons of fat, which is great because you need that in the pan. And I'm going to add the pork, but one thing I want you to note is that you want this all to be in one layer. So if your pan doesn't hold all of it, do it in batches because you want the pork to brown. And if it's crowded, it's not gonna brown. I like to peek and see, because sometimes either you don't have the pan evenly over the burner or there's just hot spots. And so I like to kind of see where it's browning fastest so that I'm turning it at the right time. The pork is definitely nice and brown. I'm pulling the pork out. As you can see, even I have given in to the apron because I just felt like it was just too spattery, and I have a new t-shirt on that I don't want to ruin. So here's what you do when you forget to season the meat you cooked with salt and pepper. You just do it after. It's gonna go back in the pan, so it's okay. Okay, I can see if I can mess up anything else today. Now, one confession is that this calls for a pound of ground pork, but I can only buy it by 0.8 pounds. So I'm adding, so it's gonna be 1.5 pounds. What it means is we're gonna have just a slightly extra meaty ragu. So I'm gonna break it up, let it sit for a while, and then come back. The pork is all done now. So let's put that over here. We got our meats all ready. So we're gonna turn the heat to medium low, pour a teaspoon of olive oil, estimate that. And then we're gonna add the celery, carrots, and shallot. So it's 1 of each, all finely chopped. I'm using the moisture from the vegetables to stir up the bits because I don't want the bits to get charred. So while the vegetables are softening, it's time for a beer mission. And today, I've got Tivoli's Mile High Hefe, which I've had many times before. It's really good. Yep, it's like crisp, a little floral, a little citrusy, but nothing super aggressive. It just feels like nice and refreshing. I've got 6 cloves of garlic, and I've got them all chopped finely. Okay, so I've got tomato paste. Okay, it's about 2 tablespoons. And here's a special ingredient, just Calabrian chilies. And I'm gonna add a teaspoon of these guys. Let it caramelize just a little bit. I'm gonna deglaze with 3/4 cup of wine. Very satisfying. It's supposed to be tomato puree, but all I had was crushed tomatoes. It's gonna be totally fine. You're also gonna add a 1/2 cup of water in a little bit, so what I wanna do is take that water and swish it around so you get every last tomato bit. The recipe calls for dried parsley in the sauce, and I'm not convinced it's really gonna be worth it, but I'm gonna do it because it says so. And then we'll decide later if we wanna repeat. But if you don't feel like buying dried parsley and you wanna use fresh, I bet Italian enough will be fine with that. All right, I didn't really follow the directions. So I'm supposed to add salt and pepper, a teaspoon of parsley. Okay. Oh, look at all those yummy juices that have collected. Okay, make sure that they all go in. Pancetta, the ground pork. I am going to make a game day decision, which is that I think because I've added extra pork, there is not enough tomato. So I'm gonna open another tomato sauce, and I'm gonna add the water, 1/2 cup of water, testing the limitations of my pan size. As you can see, it's bubbling on the sides, which is what we want. Now I'm gonna lower the heat. I'm gonna check on you now and then, but I will see you in a bit. I am at about the 2-hour mark, and I actually have had to add water, and I'm gonna do it again just because, as you can see, my pan is getting kind of dry and I don't want it to stick. Because if you're braising something and you want it to get tender, it needs liquid. So I'm gonna give it another 20 to 30 minutes. Hello, I'm back. And I'm just here to check on the sauce, which I think is done. So I think it's time to break up the meat. Let's add the 2 tablespoons of butter. So I'm just gonna estimate that that's 1 tablespoon. And here I'm gonna add a little extra. So just stir that in. This is a wonderful ragu. It just like, it has such amazing texture and character, I can tell already. And I'm really excited to have it tomorrow. And so I will see you tomorrow. All right, it is the next day. So I've got boiling, heavily salted water. And I am gonna use the Food 52 Peachy Dritti pasta. I'm just going to do a pound. I have the sauce here, simmering gently over low heat. So I've got a 1/2 cup of grated cheese, and I've got some extra grated over there for serving. And just stir it in. Now you're supposed to kind of cook this together in a pan, but we're only 2 tonight for this giant feast. Serving the sauce right over top. A lot of cheese. There we go. And I am excited to dig in. And it's a really nice, it's a very meaty, hearty ragu. I love all the different textures you get from the meats. Also, there's a lot of really like caramelized sweetness that was built in when we layered in the tomato paste, the Calabrian chilies. I think you can skip the dried parsley, but go for it if you'd like, or use fresh basil or whatever herb you'd like. I am gonna add this to my list of regulars, and I'll see you next week.